What's up, guys? It's Matt Jackson, Clay Smith, and our guest, Brian Crowder. Welcome to episode 21. Let's go.
Live from 864 Sound in Greenville, South Carolina, it's the Wash Bros Podcast with your hosts, Matt Jackson and Clay Smith.
Just from my experience, I used to kind of like, if I start looking at the competition and see everything, it creates stress.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like,
that's what I was telling Matt.
It's not positive energy.
yeah, it's not positive energy.
I feel like we look at it more than, and then when it gets busy, you don't even really give a shit anymore.
That's why I have to like shut down pretty much in January. I have to go to Florida.
That's why I'm getting into reading books, trying to get off social media.
Books with words. Huh?
I got some pictures. I got some baby books at home. Getting ready.
Try to get into reading books. I brought one from the studio here, and the words were too big, so I told Matt he needed to bring me some books to read, so he did.
Right. It's like if you can't count the letters on one hand, it's too big.
I've never been a reader, so I'm gonna try it out. See if that can
just get Audible.
do some.
Yeah, 1.5 times while you're working and stuff.
That's too boring.
You gotta, it's nowadays you gotta listen to Audible like 3x speed while you're taking an ice bath at 2 a.m.
I have to put Lil Baby on while I'm working, man. It gets me going. Want to make some money.
Pump you up. I'll just say this though, like when it comes to competition, most people out there, and it's not a bad thing, it's just reality. They're not just having like a real CRM.
Oh yeah.
You're way ahead of most of your competition.
They don't even know what a CRM is.
Yeah, just having just real basic things.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing things no one else is doing. And then once you start going on top of that, because like last year, we did like $500,000 in washing, and I didn't try really anything to grow the business.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really do anything.
You just have people in place.
I just had it in place. We had our systems in place, and I was tied up with the other business. So I was just kind of like, I'm just gonna let this thing see what it does, because you had all the marketing in place, you had the reviews in place, you have your system. So like when we get a guy on, we're able to train someone pretty quick, get him out in the field. We have levers to pull when it gets slow. And so all that just sets you ahead. It takes time to develop it. And those are the things that are hard to do when you're out washing.
It's true. It seems like it's a momentum game. And like when I was owner operating, it's like you get slammed, your momentum, you take the foot off the pedal as far as marketing and proactive stuff, and then you're just responding, and then it's just you fall into those big dips of the sales cycle. So
yeah, if you're by yourself, I mean, you stay busy pretty much all year. But it's like you were getting with me last year. You swamp up $10,000-$15,000 of work in a week, and you're like, damn. Now I gotta find leads for the
that
next
was the
week.
problem I was running to. You're at that like $30,000 on your own.
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, I'm like 6 days slammed.
But leads were down last year. Like we track our leads.
Right.
We track our sources. Leads were down in all home service business. I don't know if if you follow Tommy Mello at all, big, on his podcast, because he can get good sources at Google and stuff and whatnot. And one of his podcasts, he said Google has told him home service leads were down last year. The first time ever that leads did not grow year over year on Google. So
it was
interesting.
It was an interesting year. There was a grind to it, especially, I don't know about you guys, but washing and with floors, mid-September, it fell off a cliff.
I would say August for me was like a $50,000-something month, and then after that it was just
August
like,
was freaking huge.
it was like
for
cut in
August, it was
half.
weird, right? Like August blew up, and
then I had to run like one truck.
Yeah, no, leads just cratered.
But I think that Google changes so much too. Like, I mean, do we think that could be messing with anything?
I think Google gets all the incoming leads, right?
Yeah.
They get the request coming in, and however they disperse it out is like what they do. So you're saying like the request coming in at the top level.
Yeah,
Okay.
so top of the funnel.
The demand just got
I see what you're saying.
Top of the funnel wasn't as big. And why? Well, inflation. If I got a $500 house wash, or it cost me $500 to go to Costco.
It's true.
You don't have that. People traveled last year. Like I took my family to Europe.
Yeah, that's true.
I wasn't the only one traveling. It was crazy. So people are going to spend a few $1,000 traveling. It's like I don't get my
because COVID's gone, it's safe.
Yeah, it's like
all those people were
there was
camped
this demand of like I want to go live my life a little bit, and so people move their money. I think this year's people are worried about the election year. I'm like I don't know. Those guys, how much control do they really have? Not much. And it's like, you just got to do your thing.
Yeah. They've been saying like the black swan event of the economy for the last 5 years, 10 years. They're like, oh, it's Ever since Trump got in, it's like, oh, the economy is going to crash. I'm like,
it's too big. It's like this humongous ship that just turn this thing like this. One person can't turn it. It's just like, it's just little variations here or there.
So I just try to stay out of that crap. I don't even know what's going on with anything.
That's the best way to go.
Yeah.
Like, just do your thing.
I feel like a lot of people stress a little too much about it.
Totally. And the other thing is, a down economy is good for a small business. Why? Because those who have systems, a customer base, you make it through it.
They're going to survive. Yeah.
It's cutting the bottom out.
It cuts the bottom out. So I mean, it's
like you survive a recession. It's like you look at all these small businesses like Microsoft at the time and Apple. They were all started in like down economies.
Exactly. So I mean, I'm old enough. I'm like an old guy now. In 2008, the crush. So I was turning 30. I bought my first house. I had my biggest year ever. And where I lived in San Diego is almost ground zero for like the housing crisis. All my friends are losing their houses. People are doing this. I didn't really feel a slowdown maybe till like end of 09 into 10, but even then it didn't last very long. But you just got to like stick with it, do your thing. So that was scary. This to me is like, I might slow down a little bit and maybe you don't grow. This might not be the year to push and grow and spend a lot of money. It might just be like consolidation, maintain, get ready for the future.
Yeah. I found that out last fall trying to grow. I was like, oh, I don't have it's like you can tell when you're in a growth phase because you don't have that stability under you and you're like, okay, I can just keep crushing it on marketing right now and then still get it. But then when it dries up, you're just lose footing.
Yeah, if the market's down, the market's down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's reality.
Versus like, okay, if I was like owner operating this year, I just would have destroyed it. But there's different.
If people aren't buying, you cannot force them to buy by spending more money marketing.
Yeah.
Like the market is where the market's at. That's why they say when they're buying a lot, that's when you double your marketing budget. That's when you do it because the fish are biting. But if they're not biting, you can keep mailing them postcards, you can keep doing this. They're not going to buy from you. You're just burning money.
That's like December, January. I didn't even spend any money really.
Yeah.
I may have spent $500 maybe.
I think I burned $500 and got like
nothing
out
and
of
then
it.
you're like, okay, the market's down. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Unless you have like an off-season service, like we just started the dry event stuff. So hopefully next year it'll kick off pretty good.
Yeah, we kind of got heavy into. I never liked cleaning gutters personally.
Oh, I hate it.
So I never really did it, and we do it like you had to have an add-on service. But a couple of years ago, I realized like, hey, if you have employees, you got to keep them busy. So we leaned into gutter cleaning. So we clean a lot of gutters now, and we don't make any money.
Yeah,
but it keeps us busy,
keeps
pays the bills, keeps the guys working. You get some wash jobs from it, but it's just kind of like as soon as March 1st hit, we tell people gutter cleaning requires 2 services.
Yeah, you don't want to be like out there for $250 and you're like, I'm got to sell a $600 house wash right now.
Yeah.
So with the gutter cleaning, did you guys do everything from the ground, or did you have employees on ladders?
Yeah, ladder up and you get those gutter sticks and stuff.
Just worried about like liability and stuff about as far as having guys on ladders and stuff.
Just get the right insurance.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. You got to go legal and all things, you know? You can't 1099 them. That's the other thing, like crossing that boundary of like, am I going to be this way or am I going to be this way? And once you commit to a certain way, it's just kind of like, all right, that's how we're going to do it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, and I imagine like payroll is just a whole nother level, right?
You got quarterly taxes and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's wild. Like for washing, like we were really, and you see payrolls on Friday and it's like $16,000. You're like, what in the world?
It's a big bill, right?
Yeah, it's a big bill, but you're like, oh, these guys want to get paid. I guess that's right. So
if I want to continue this, I better go ahead and just let it go.
Yeah. So I mean, but you get used to it. And you have to have self-discipline. Like the business has its money. It's not my little piggy bank.
You can't say I got $60,000 in this account. I'm going to go buy something. And
like, it's like you have to be
30's leaving it.
It's more the long game versus like, I want to go buy that. Let me take $3,000 out. You know, it's like,
yeah, it's not I'll probably end up missing that one of these days, but
then you're buying your time back.
Yeah,
and I think that's the big thing you're going to notice this year, like as you get more off the truck,
get off of it more.
But like I was in your shoes like 2021 or 2022, and then once I got that second truck, I was going from like $30,000 a month to like $60,000 a month, and it almost like because at that $30,000 a month I wasn't advertising. Because it was like I can't run a lot of money into Google or Facebook because I'm going to be like 2.5, 3 weeks out.
Over advertise, you'll go out of business, waste money.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's something about like burning the ships a little bit where you're like, all right, it's go time.
Yeah, you have to be willing to, go for it and you just do it and see what happens. Like,
yeah.
it's not all going to be lined up perfectly. You're
It's
not
like
gonna
worst
have all
case
the
scenario.
answers.
It's a write-off.
Yeah, that's the
like
way
the
I look at it.
expression's
With
like,
that
oh,
stupid
it's a
display,
write-off.
that dim display ads and Google search ads, the smart campaigns with Google, total waste of money. We did over 15 grand. Both of us,
Yeah.
we both spent 15 grand on Google last year. And it was all display ad bullcrap.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's still converted in some way though.
Yeah, but
I did that with a postcard campaign with coatings last year in
Yeah.
September.
terrible.
So do you like sending mailers, or you're like EDDMs, or do you send like stuff like cards to your previous clients? What do you?
So over the years, I've done EDDM. We always would mail postcards to our clients. Our CRM does that. So House Call Pro will do that for you. Thank you card, 3-month reminder. I think we went 3, 6, 9, maybe 3. I changed it. I don't know. We went up to 24 months. After 24 months, I didn't hear from you. It's like, you're probably not my customer anymore. Done mailers, EDDM over the years. And that's always kind of like, sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. You got to be committed to it. But this past year, mailers did not do well. So I'm a little nervous about.
Yeah.
And we were consistent. We hit the same routes for like 5 months in a row. And you shouldn't expect anything the first time, but the second time should be a little better. The third time should be even better. And it just didn't do anything for me. So.
Do you think the volume of junk mail maybe messes with that at all?
I don't know. It's
Because like me, if I see a bunch of coupons and crap, it goes.
yeah.
straight.
So you're not the target, right?
Right.
So it's like anything. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was a guy about marketing, and he was talking like, people tend to go wide. Like, I'm gonna do mailers, I'm gonna do Facebook, I'm gonna do Google, I'm gonna do Nextdoor, blah 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 blah. His thing is like, find out who your target customer is, and go deep on that. Everything about them. What they buy, who they buy from, why they buy from them, who their friends are, what their thing is. And then you gear all your marketing to that specific person.
like an avatar.
Yeah. And so I think the trap I've fallen in over the years, probably you guys too, is like, everyone's my customer.
Yeah, because in the beginning you need
they're
everybody as a
not.
customer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you're
everyone's
right.
not your customer,
like
right? So certain subdivisions, it's like,
You don't even want to.
I may get a house in there, but
Yeah.
they're not my customer.
I think
I've realized that.
like
too.
you've taken over neighborhoods that I was in back in the day because
Yeah.
I had to go up like $100,
Tedder
like
mail.
$150, and I'm like, all right, well, if I'm at 5 something and you're at 354, you're gonna get those neighbors that I was losing or that I had when I was at 300.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think of certain places like in Simpsonville and Malden.
Yep.
Those are, they're not going to spend $500 on a house wash over there.
But
They're the
you
10
know, I
cents
don't want to
people.
do the $1,000 house washes with copper gutters either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I send my guys out there. They don't know patina. I don't know patina.
Yeah.
And that became a big KPI for us, was our average ticket, and can we get I want fewer stops. I want to wash, if I can wash fewer houses for a higher ticket,
Yeah.
I'll take that every day.
That's because you're doing like 5 stops, 6 stops some days. You're grinding.
I've done. I mean, last year. With us moving our minimum up, I don't think that we'll be doing that many. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the volume of leads I get.
Like, I had to dial back on that on mine when I was running guys because like if I could do five stops in a day, my guy would do like 3, or he'd say on 4 he's like, hey, I gotta come home, or like he's like, you're pushing me too hard.
I can't see an employee doing more than 3. Like that's not. I'm not going to expect more than that.
Kind of depends what they're doing. If they're doing like
Depends on
200
the
square
job.
foot houses and they're tight, they can
Yeah,
knock them
exactly.
down. But yeah, they're never going to have that same level that we will. So you can't, if you expect it, you're just frustrated.
Yeah.
So you just got to design it
You
like
don't
what's
want
best for
to
them.
burn a kid out.
Well, let me ask you something. As far as scaling and growing and all that stuff, so we're going to pay our guys a minimum. You know, you got your minimum there, and then whichever is greater. You know, you're going to get your minimum regardless. But if it's greater than say 15% of the truck, that's what you're going to get paid, and you're going to get all your tips. How would you say? I mean, what's the most effective to drive your employees as a pressure washing business owner? Like, how can you get the most out of your employees but still take care of them too and make sure they don't kill themselves? And they, I'm not going to say they're going to love their job because that shit gets rough out there, right? But how do you keep them coming to work every morning and being on time and being excited about their job?
So, especially for younger people, probably in their, most guys working for us are going to be like early 20s, mid 20s at the most.
Yep.
Is money isn't the most important factor for their job. Like, money's important, but lifestyle. So I mean, I went through all sorts of stuff. We've done performance-based pay. It just depends how you're going to run your guys, right?
Right,
Are they going to be subs? Are they going to be employees? We finally settled on kind of like a hourly plus bonus. So if we were able to produce at a certain rate per hour, you can make yourself, an extra $1 to an extra $6 an hour. So it's like Matt comes to me, he's like, I want a raise. And you're making, $18 an hour right now. I could pull up and say, hey, Matt, so you are producing at $137 an hour. Clay over here, he's producing at $186 an hour. I want to give you a raise, but what can we do to get you at Clay's rate?
Yeah.
Because if you do that, Clay's making $6 an hour bonus every day. So you control your raise. So you give them a little skin in the game.
I never thought about it that way.
So it's kind of like, it takes time to track all that stuff. And so it's like, or it's like, you're only averaging $115 an hour. You are below. I need to get you to where you're actually making what I'm paying you per hour right now.
Yeah.
And so you just
like teach them the business almost.
Trying to figure them out, like, you control your raise. Like this is what a technician in my business gets paid. You get paid $20 an hour. Now you can bonus out up to $25 an hour when we hit these certain metrics. And then so they control the raise. You want to raise? Yeah, you totally control it.
The only other thing I worry about is like guys just getting done too early and not rinsing houses and, just spraying bleach and half-ass rinsing them and, stuff like that. So obviously I know that's going to be an issue, but I don't want to push them like, take your time, but be consistent,
Loading them up, they're not going to tell you it's too much. They're just going to like half-ass it. Yeah. And then sometimes I look at like the time tracker on House Call Pro and I'm like, this is like 30 or 40 minutes on a $300 or $400
there's
ticket.
No way.
And I'm like, I know you're shortcutting. Plus, you're giving the wrong, like we're a service-based business, so you're giving the wrong impression to a customer who's paying for that service.
Yeah.
Just like I hired a 5-star service company. I don't expect this in and out 30-minute crap.
Yeah, if they're not home, like get it done, but don't hit finish.
But don't hit finish. Exactly.
Give it like
there's still cameras and stuff, man.
Yeah,
I see companies get blasted all the time, especially the pest control guys and
they're there for
long
like 30
guys,
seconds.
and and so I always just try to take my time and at least take an hour and a half if I can.
Yeah, it is funny because I had an employee that was like running through stuff so fast, and then I had another guy who was a little slower.
Yeah,
but in the long run, like the guy who's a little slower
was doing a better
is the one
quality
that you
job.
want to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just that's again your company sitting down and be like, what is a house wash for C3 Wash Pro? What is a house wash for Matt the Dryer? Well, this is a house wash. On this size, it should take us between this and this amount of time, right? And then telling the guys what to do. Like Pat Clark always says, inspect what you expect. So
tasting leaves.
Yeah, like randomly drop in on guys, see how they're doing, coaching them up.
Yeah.
I found that most of the guys we had some jokers, and looking back, like you hear the stories after they're gone, like, wow, but we didn't have too many problems. But I think if the culture's there, like we're in it together, we're a team, I take care of you guys, like randomly like bring them lunch or we do fun days and all those good stuff and reward them. They'll do the right thing. People do the right thing.
I think you guys were at Spare Time not long ago, right?
Yeah,
doing some bowling. I was kind of
so I mean, just like that, like they look forward to that. It's like the greatest event of their life. Like doing this stuff. I mean,
right?
It costs $700, $800 to do, but the amount of goodwill it buys towards your employees, and they see that you genuinely care about them and you want the best for them.
Yeah,
they want to please you. They want to like live up to the high standard And then even like core values, that's something I'm going to be working on is like determine what our core values are and you hire towards your core values. You want people who work for you who are aligned with those core values, not misaligned with those core values. And when things come up, let's say someone was doing something that was unsafe. Like, I just wanted to get up there and do that real quick. And you're like, hey, I appreciate you doing that. But one of our core values is safety. And do you think doing that lived up to that core value? And so you get them to think in terms of making decisions in the field of, does this match our core value or not? Does this align with our core values? So when you're out in the field, you don't know what to do, just ask yourself, was this safe? Teamwork. Well, teamwork means, am I doing something to help the company or hurt the company? So doing this, am I helping or hurting? Attitude, am I doing this because I'm like just tired? So it's just like this can help you give this decision matrix while they're out in the field. But it takes effort and time to beat that into their heads.
Yeah.
And holding them accountable.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to follow the season 2 of the Wash Bros and see your journey into multiple trucks.
Yeah. So hopefully we can be consistent with these episodes for sure. And see about, like you said, how we done it since I bought my second truck, looking to get a second skid into the second truck, make it as convenient and easy as possible. So it's gonna be pretty
Super
cool.
exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting for sure. I'm kind of nervous, but I know. I mean, shouldn't be.
I think it'll fall into places.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more nervous about just kind of. I don't want to say having to rely on other people, but I know that we're gonna do great, right? But it's just like having the other people out there. You're just. I don't want to say micromanaging, but that's your baby, right? Mm-hmm. So you're finally, it's almost like I'm not old enough to have a kid, old enough to date, but it's almost like letting your kid go out on a date for the first time, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. So.
Yeah. I mean, when it first happened to me, I was like, I was kind of rough. I was like, why is it taking so long? What are we doing?
I did that too.
And eventually you realize like, you're not helping them.
Exactly. I remember specifically the first day I sent my guy out in a truck. It was like 8:30 at night, and he came home, and it was like March, so it was pitch black for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
and then his phone died.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm like,
he couldn't remember how to get back,
or like the water was really slow at the house.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, man,
it's
the whole time I was like, did he steal my truck?
Or is he alive?
Is he alive? Did he get hurt?
Yeah, did he fall off a ladder?
I'm like, hey, man. And then he's like, oh yeah, sorry. I was just like, but like in the beginning they don't really know if you send a guy out, and then they have to learn with their like trials and tribulations on the job too.
Yeah.
I should have been like, dude, if it's dark, we'll come back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like
a
lesson learned
storm
for me is like, okay, we stop at a certain time.
But like you create systems as you learn, you're like, oh, okay, well, when this happens, like I would naturally leave, but an employee's not thinking that. They're like, oh, well, the boss is going to be mad. Mm-hmm. But like the culture really comes in. And
so I think a lot of times we start our own business for, I'm going to have more time.
Yep.
And then you realize I have less time now.
Yeah.
This wasn't the goal, right? So it's figuring out like I can have more time as an owner operator if I'm willing to like have some real strict parameters. I'm not going to have to do every job. It's fine to say no to a job, but it's human nature to be like yes. Before you know it, you're coming home answering phone calls and following quotes up and blah 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 blah.
Hoping the kids ain't screaming in the background. That's my issue right now. I can't get on. I'm trying to talk on the phone. And I was actually having a conversation with somebody earlier about that. Like when you start a business, everybody thinks that, oh, I'm going to get to do on this vacation. I'm going to get to do this. I'm going to get to do that.
Boss.
You're married to it for the first 3 or 4 years. I mean, it's not all it's jacked up to be. For sure.
I mean,
not at the beginning anyway.
Totally. And so that's the nice thing as you kind of like figure systems out and scale. I remember must have been 2019 or something. A couple months after I started to bring it up, I went on because every time I'd go on vacation, it was like the business shut down.
Yeah,
no money's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was at Disney World and I had 2 trucks out there.
You go.
Making money.
See, you get 5-star reviews when you're on the beach.
Yeah,
like I was on a cruise getting 5-star reviews, and then you're like, "This is
I'm
way
ready
better
for that."
And
man.
then this year we went to Switzerland and Spain for 2 weeks. I had 2 businesses going.
Mm-hmm.
Had salespeople, office people, technicians, a production manager. There was a couple fires that happened while I was gone, and texting. But overall, I was on the other side of the world.
Different time
and these
zone.
guys were coming up every morning, going to work, and you're like, "That's what it's supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
like that's the goal."
That's cool.
Yeah. So the end game's like just to make it run itself, really.
Yeah.
So
it's not a business till you don't have to
really touch it.
Yeah, it's a job.
Obviously, you got to show up, right?
Yeah.
You got to make sure your people see you showing up every now and then, right? You got to
There
make
was
an
some
appearance.
times during COVID, like 21. I mean, we had a good salesperson and good guys working. I was just like, I got nothing to do right now. Our average ticket was like $2,000 each because everyone's having to do all this stuff. I was just like,
the COVID money.
Yeah, it was nuts. And I would just be like I'd like, should I grow my business? But I was just like, this is kind of cool. Like, just like chilling right now.
Heck yeah.
So,
well, any of you guys that are listening, that may be subscribed to any of us, just give us a shout. Me and Matt will be down at Orlando. What's the name of it's the PWNCA?
Something like that.
Something like that. I don't really remember the name of it, but we will be there down in Orlando. Give us a shout. We may bring a couple shirts with us too, so make sure you ask us about that. I know there's a couple of guys on there that on here that are listening that have asked about a couple of those as well. Matt does have a book out. Be sure to go to Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
And what's the name of the book, Matt?
It is No Pressure Washing.
No Pressure Washing.
If you search like pressure washing book, it's on the first page.
Bestseller.
Yeah.
It's a bestseller. Yeah,
bestseller.
In sewing and weaving.
Sewing and weaving. Yeah, make sure that you get on there and order Matt's book. How much is it? How much you got it at now?
$9.
$9. And make sure you leave him a review as well.
I'm the $9 guy.
You'll get to see my pretty face in there somewhere. I don't remember what chapter or page it's on, but make sure you get on there. Make sure that you give us a follow on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify.
Yeah.
And
hopefully we get that Joe Rogan contract.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Joe Rogan would be nice.
Let's go.
But we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.